Expected 25% growth in China's defense export market by 2027. Impact of technological advancements from the Fujian Group on arms manufacturing. Date: January 24, 2025. Overview. China's defense export market is projected to experience significant growth with expectations of a 25% increase by 2027. This growth is primarily driven by technological advancements from the Fujian Group, which are enhancing the quality and competitiveness of Chinese military products in the global arms market. This report delves into the motivations behind China's arms exports, the role of technological innovation, and the implications for global security dynamics. Key motivations behind China's arms exports. 1. Geopolitical influence. China's arms exports are closely tied to its geopolitical ambitions. The Belt and Road Initiative (BRI) serves as a cornerstone for these efforts. As China seeks to protect its economic investments and strengthen military partnerships in regions of strategic interest. By providing military equipment to countries like Pakistan and various nations in Africa, China aims to bolster local military capabilities, thereby enhancing its influence and safeguarding its investments in these regions. 2. Technological advancements. The Fujian Group has been at the forefront of innovation within China's defense sector. By focusing on research and development, the group is expected to produce advanced military technologies that meet the demands of various international markets. This technological edge is crucial for attracting clients, particularly in developing regions facing security challenges. 3. Market penetration. China has successfully positioned itself as a leading arms supplier to sub-Saharan Africa, surpassing both Russia and the United States. This strategic pivot towards markets with less Western influence reflects China's intent to establish a stronger foothold in areas where demand for military hardware is increasing, driven by local security concerns. 4. Economic considerations. While geopolitical interests are paramount, profit motives also drive China's arms trade. By selling advanced military technologies at competitive prices, China can subsidize its research and development costs, making it an attractive partner for countries with limited defense budgets. Joint ventures such as those with Saudi Arabia for unmanned aerial vehicles (UAVs) exemplify this approach. Common themes across sources. Strategic interests. Both sources emphasize that China's arms exports serve broader strategic goals, including enhancing the military capabilities of allies and establishing a foothold in conflict zones. Geopolitical dynamics. China's growing arms exports are reshaping military balances in various regions, prompting the U.S. and its allies to reassess their military strategies. Differences between sources. Source 1 highlights the geopolitical motivations behind arms sales, analyzing specific case studies such as China's support for Russia amid the Ukraine conflict. In contrast, Source 2 focuses on the implications of China's arms industry on the global stage, arguing that while China's exports are increasing, they will not supplant NATO's capabilities in the near future. Timeline of key events. 2023. China significantly increases arms sales to Russia, providing military components and systems in response to the Ukraine invasion. 2024. Reports indicate that China has emerged as the primary arms supplier to several countries in sub-Saharan Africa, with notable transactions involving military aircraft and UAVs. 2027 projected. A 25% growth in China's defense export market is anticipated, fueled by technological advancements from the Fujian Group. Implications for global security dynamics. The anticipated growth in China's defense exports presents both opportunities and challenges for global security. As China expands its influence through arms sales, it raises concerns among the U.S. and its allies regarding the shifting balance of power in key regions. The implications of this growth include increased military capabilities of recipients. As countries receive advanced military technologies from China, their military capabilities will improve, potentially leading to altered regional power dynamics. Response from the US and allies. The US and its allies may need to reevaluate their military strategies and strengthen their own defense export programs to counterbalance China's growing influence in the arms market. Potential for conflict. As China continues to arm nations in conflict zones, there is a heightened risk of escalation in regional tensions, particularly if these nations engage in disputes involving US interests or allies. Conclusion. In conclusion, the expected 25% growth in China's defense export market by 2027 is driven by a complex interplay of technological innovation, strategic geopolitical interests, and economic motivations. The advancements made by the Fujian Group are pivotal in enhancing the quality of Chinese military offerings, allowing China to expand its influence globally. As these developments unfold, they will have significant implications for global security dynamics, particularly for the US and its allies, who must navigate a shifting landscape marked by China's growing assertiveness in the arms market. The anticipated 25% growth in China's defense export market by 2027, largely driven by technological advancements from the Fujian Group, unveils a complex landscape of geopolitical strategies, economic motivations, and market dynamics that challenge conventional wisdom about global arms trade. Below are some counterintuitive insights derived from the analysis. 1. Integration of economic and military strategy. While it is generally assumed that arms sales are primarily driven by military considerations, China's approach integrates economic imperatives as a foundational aspect of its defense export strategy. The notion that arms sales can solely be viewed through a military lens neglects the significant economic motivations that underpin China's defense export initiatives, particularly as they relate to securing investments tied to the Belt and Road Initiative (BRI). This intertwining of economic and military strategies signifies that China's arms exports serve not only to enhance military capacity but also to safeguard and promote its broader economic interests in regions like Africa and South Asia. 2. Competitive pricing versus quality. Counter to the common perception that higher quality equates to higher demand, China's strategy of offering advanced weaponry at competitive prices has enabled it to penetrate markets previously dominated by Western powers. The argument that lower prices inherently lead to lower quality overlooks the nuanced reality that many developing nations prioritize affordability and accessibility over the historical reliability associated with Western defense systems. This dynamic suggests that price competitiveness could be as crucial, if not more so, than quality in determining arms market success among economically constrained nations. 3. Geopolitical influence through arms sales. While arms sales are typically viewed as a means to bolster military capabilities, China's strategy reveals that they are also a tool for establishing geopolitical footholds and exerting influence in conflict zones. This approach challenges traditional notions of deterrence and alliance building, indicating that China uses arms sales as a strategic instrument to shape the political landscape of recipient countries, thereby enhancing its own geopolitical leverage rather than merely augmenting the military capabilities of its partners. 4. The role of joint ventures. The emphasis on joint ventures as a mode of arms production and distribution is a departure from the conventional arms sales model that focuses on direct exports. This strategy reflects a deeper level of engagement with partner countries, fostering interdependence and shared technological advancement. The expectation that such joint ventures will lead to a significant transfer of technology and capabilities to partner nations can be misleading, as it may also facilitate a form of control and influence over these countries' military capacities and strategic decisions. 5. Limited military presence cannot undermine influence. A common assumption is that military presence equates to strategic influence. However, China's growing arms exports do not necessarily require a vast military footprint abroad to exert influence. Instead, the ability to provide military equipment, training, and support allows China to maintain significant sway in regions without the need for extensive garrison deployments. This challenges the conventional wisdom that military bases are the primary means of projecting influence and power. 6. R&D subsidies as a secondary objective. While profit motives are often cited as the primary drive behind arms exports, The emphasis on subsidizing research and development R&D costs presents a more intricate picture. The idea that arms sales are merely a means to financial gain overlooks the strategic necessity of offsetting R&D expenditures through international markets. This suggests a long-term vision where defense exports are not just about immediate financial returns but also about sustaining and advancing China's technological capabilities in the face of global competition. 7. Perceptions of global arms trade dynamics. The notion that China's arms exports will not supplant NATO capabilities in the near term offers a misleadingly simplistic view of the evolving global arms landscape. Such assessments may underestimate the potential for China to reshape military balances in certain regions through strategic partnerships and the provision of arms, irrespective of NATO's technological edge. This perspective can lead to complacency among Western powers regarding the implications of China's increasing arms exports. 8. The importance of regional dynamics. The growing significance of sub-Saharan Africa and other developing regions as key markets for Chinese arms exports challenges the traditional focus on established Western allies and partners. The assumption that arms trade is chiefly a transaction between established military powers fails to consider the unique strategic interests and security challenges faced by developing nations, which may render them more receptive to Chinese offerings regardless of the long-term implications for global military alignments. These counterintuitive insights highlight the need to reassess conventional ideas about arms trade, particularly in the context of China's growing influence in the global arms market. The interplay of economic, strategic, and technological factors creates a complex environment where traditional paradigms may no longer hold true. The anticipated 25% growth in China's defense export market by 2027 is attributed to several crucial yet often overlooked factors that extend beyond mere economic interests. Understanding these elements is vital to grasping the broader implications of China's arms exports on global security dynamics and geopolitical relations. 1. Strategic partnerships and economic security. One vital yet often underestimated aspect is how China's arms exports are intricately linked to its economic initiatives, particularly the Belt and Road Initiative (BRI). The BRI is not merely a series of infrastructure projects but a comprehensive strategy aimed at expanding China's influence across Asia, Europe, and Africa. By providing military assistance to countries participating in the BRI, China is not only safeguarding its investments but also stabilizing regions where its economic interests are at stake. For instance, arms sales to Pakistan and certain African nations are framed as a means to protect Chinese workers and projects from local instability. This protective measure is often overlooked because it reframes arms exports as a tool for ensuring economic security rather than just a military transaction. 2. Technological advancements from the Fujian Group. The technological innovations spearheaded by the Fujian Group are pivotal for enhancing China's competitiveness in the arms market. While many discussions focus on the quantity of arms sold, the qualitative leap facilitated by these advancements is significant. The Fujian Group's ability to develop state-of-the-art military technology not only improves the capabilities of Chinese arms but also attracts a broader clientele, especially among developing nations that may not have access to Western technology. The significance of this technological edge cannot be overstated, as it positions China as a viable alternative to Western defense suppliers, often at more competitive prices. 3. Geopolitical influence in conflict zones. China's arms exports are often viewed through the lens of economic transactions, yet their geopolitical implications in conflict zones are profound. By supplying arms to nations embroiled in conflicts such as Russia during the Ukraine war, China is not only supporting its strategic partners but also asserting its influence in critical geopolitical arenas. This dynamic is often overlooked in discussions about military sales because it highlights a dual objective: enhancing military capabilities of allies while simultaneously shaping the outcome of conflicts to favor Chinese interests. This can effectively alter regional balances of power, compelling the U.S. and its allies to reconsider their strategies. 4. Market penetration and Western decline. China's emergence as a leading arms supplier in regions like sub-Saharan Africa exemplifies a strategic pivot toward markets where Western influence is receding. The transition from a scenario dominated by US and Russian arms sales to one where China takes the lead is significant. This shift is often underappreciated as it suggests an erosion of Western dominance in global arms markets, which can have cascading effects on international relations and security alliances. Countries like Nigeria and Zimbabwe are increasingly turning to China for military supplies, not just for the arms themselves but also for the political and economic relationships that accompany such deals. 5. Economic considerations versus geopolitical objectives. While the economic motivations for arms sales are frequently highlighted, the broader geopolitical objectives often remain obscured. China's arms exports are used to subsidize research and development costs, which is a critical factor in maintaining its defense industry. This financial strategy allows for continued technological advancements and innovation within China's military sector. However, it also signifies that arms exports are a means to an end facilitating China's ambitions on the global stage. This duality, of pursuing profit while advancing strategic geopolitical goals, is crucial to understanding the full impact of China's arms trade. 6. Influence on military operations of partner nations. China's arms sales are not only about equipment, they significantly influence the military operations and doctrines of recipient nations. By providing advanced weaponry, China can shape the military capabilities and strategies of foreign militaries, often embedding its military philosophy within these forces. This transformative impact on the operational capabilities of partner nations is frequently overlooked, as discussions on arms deals tend to focus on the transactions themselves rather than the long-term implications for military alignment and strategy. 7. Long-term strategic vision. Finally, the ambition behind China's arms export strategy aligns with a long-term vision of establishing a more multipolar world where it plays a central role. This shift is crucial as it reflects China's desire to counterbalance US influence globally. By cultivating military relationships and securing arms deals, China is positioning itself as a key player in global security dynamics, which could lead to a re-evaluation of existing alliances and power structures. Conclusion. In summary, the anticipated growth in China's defense export market is driven by a complex interplay of technological innovation, economic motivations, and strategic geopolitical interests. The implications of these factors extend far beyond mere numbers. They indicate a significant shift in global military dynamics that could reshape international relations. Understanding these overlooked dimensions is essential for policymakers and analysts as they navigate the changing landscape of global security and military power. 1. Geopolitical influence and strategic goals. The primary motivation behind China's projected 25% growth in defense exports by 2027 is its geopolitical ambitions, particularly in securing its economic investments tied to the Belt and Road Initiative (BRI). By providing military support to nations such as Pakistan and various African states, China aims to enhance its influence in conflict-prone regions. This arms trade not only secures local stability for Chinese investments but also fosters partnerships that can serve Beijing's broader strategic goals, allowing it to exert influence in key military and political arenas. 2. Technological advancements of the Fujian Group. The Fujian Group's innovations and advancements in military technology are critical to China's competitive edge in the global arms market. These developments are expected to improve the quality and range of military products available for export, particularly to developing regions where demand for advanced military capabilities is rising. The emphasis on technological innovation not only enhances China's export potential but also enables it to compete more effectively against established arms suppliers like the United States and Russia. 3. Market penetration in emerging markets. China's arms exports have notably increased in sub-Saharan Africa, where it has become the leading supplier, surpassing both the US and Russia. This shift indicates a strategic pivot towards regions where Western influence is declining. the growing demand for Chinese military equipment in these markets, driven by local security challenges, underscores China's ability to tailor its offerings to meet the needs of developing countries. This trend further demonstrates how China is reshaping military balances globally, compelling traditional powers to reassess their military strategies. For economic considerations and profit motives, while geopolitical and strategic interests drive China's arms trade, economic considerations play a significant role. The ability to sell advanced weaponry at competitive prices allows China to subsidize its research and development costs, thus bolstering its defense industry. Joint ventures such as those with Saudi Arabia for UAV production illustrate how economic incentives are intertwined with strategic objectives, enabling China to expand its market presence while reinforcing military ties with key partners. This dual approach highlights the complexity of China's arms exports, blending profit motives with broader geopolitical goals. 1. The arms trade and geopolitical influence. The Soviet Union's support for Arab states 1950s to 1980s. During the Cold War, the Soviet Union significantly increased its arms exports to various Arab states including Egypt, Syria, and Iraq. This strategy was aimed at expanding its influence in the Middle East and countering Western dominance, particularly that of the United States. The Soviets provided military hardware and training which allowed these nations to enhance their military capabilities and resist Western-aligned states. Notably, the Soviet Union's support for Egypt during the Yom Kippur War in 1973 showcased how arms sales were linked to geopolitical strategies, securing alliances and fostering loyalty among client states. 2. U.S. arms sales to Latin America 1980s. In the 1980s, the United States engaged in extensive arms sales to various Latin American countries including El Salvador and Nicaragua. As part of its broader strategy to combat the spread of communism in the region, the U.S. provided military assistance as a means of bolstering regimes viewed as allies against leftist movements. The support included not only weapons but also training and intelligence sharing. This approach was aimed at establishing a foothold in the region and countering Soviet influence similar to China's current strategy in Africa and the Middle East. 3. Russia's arms export strategy post-Cold War 1990s present. Since the dissolution of the Soviet Union, Russia has been a major player in the global arms market, particularly in regions like the Middle East, Africa, and South Asia. The Russian government has utilized arms exports to strengthen its geopolitical position and maintain influence in former Soviet states and other regions. Notable cases include arms deals with countries like India, Algeria, and Syria, where Moscow has provided advanced military technology in exchange for strategic alliances and access to natural resources. This strategy mirrors China's current approach, where arms sales are linked to securing economic interests and geopolitical influence. These historical cases illustrate how arms exports have been utilized as tools of foreign policy to achieve strategic geopolitical objectives, a pattern that resonates with China's anticipated growth in defense exports. The anticipated 25% growth in China's defense export market by 2027 is set against a backdrop of strategic geopolitical interests, technological advancements, and economic motivations. As the Fujian Group continues to innovate, it is expected to propel China's arms manufacturing sector into a more competitive global position, reshaping the dynamics of international arms sales. Predictions for China's defense export market by 2027. 1. Technological superiority and product diversification. The Fujian Group's advancements are likely to enhance the quality and range of China's military products. By 2027, we can expect a significant increase in sophisticated weaponry, including drones, missile systems, and naval assets, which will attract a broader range of clients, particularly in developing countries. This diversification will not only cater to traditional markets but also tap into emerging markets seeking affordable yet effective military solutions. 2. Geopolitical partnerships. China's defense exports will increasingly serve as a tool for geopolitical influence. By 2027, the arms trade will be closely tied to strategic partnerships, particularly in regions like Africa and Southeast Asia, where China's investments are substantial. Expect a rise in military cooperation agreements that will bolster China's position as a key player in global security dialogues, particularly among nations that are wary of Western influence. 3. Market penetration in developing regions. As China continues to dominate the arms market in sub-Saharan Africa and other developing areas, we will see a shift in military alliances. Countries like Nigeria and Zimbabwe will increasingly rely on Chinese arms to address local security challenges, which will solidify China's status as a primary arms supplier. This shift will likely alter existing power dynamics, compelling Western nations to reassess their military strategies in these regions. 4. Economic justifications for arms exports. The economic benefits derived from arms exports will remain a significant motivator for China. The joint ventures with countries like Saudi Arabia for UAV production are indicative of a broader trend to reduce R&D costs through international sales. By 2027, expect China to further enhance its economic foothold through arms sales, using profits to fund domestic military modernization initiatives. 5. Responses from global powers. The United States and its allies are likely to respond to China's growing arms exports with strategic countermeasures. This may include increased military aid to allied nations, the development of more competitive arms offerings, and enhanced diplomatic efforts to counteract China's influence. By 2027, we could see a more polarized global arms market, with nations aligning themselves based on their military procurement strategies. 6. Impact on global military balance. China's expanded arms exports will have a profound impact on the global military balance. As recipient countries enhance their military capabilities with Chinese technology, this may lead to increased regional tensions, particularly in areas of strategic importance such as the South China Sea and the Indo-Pacific. Expect to see an escalated arms race in these regions as nations respond to perceived threats from both China and each other. 7. Increased competition among arms suppliers. With China's competitive pricing and growing reputation for providing advanced military technology, expect increased pressure on traditional arms suppliers like the US and Russia. By 2027, these countries will need to adapt their offerings to maintain market share, potentially leading to innovations in military technology and changes in pricing strategies. 8. Focus on security cooperation. Arms sales will increasingly be coupled with security cooperation initiatives, including training and joint military exercises. By 2027, China will likely be seen not only as a supplier of arms but also as a partner in military capacity building, which will further entrench its influence in recipient nations. 9. Challenges to Western dominance. The rise of China's arms exports represents a significant challenge to Western military dominance. By 2027, we can expect a realignment of global power structures, with China emerging as a formidable competitor in the arms market. This shift will force Western nations to reconsider their approach to defense alliances and military engagements worldwide. In conclusion, the projected 25% growth in China's defense export market by 2027, driven by technological advancements from the Fujian Group, will have far-reaching implications for global security dynamics. The interplay of geopolitical ambitions, economic motivations, and technological innovation will shape a new era in international arms trade, presenting both opportunities and challenges for countries around the world. As China solidifies its position as a leading arms exporter, expect significant shifts in military alliances, regional security strategies, and the overall balance of power on the global stage.